Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and look at that cheeky notification bell over there. Just click it and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit from Defiant Function 8397, and it says, Am I the Arsehole Here for refusing a wedding gift knowing there will be strings attached? This story starts. My fiance, 32 male, and I, 31 female, got engaged on Christmas Eve. Until recently I had a great relationship with his family, his mum especially. But ever since the engagement it's become really strained because she keeps trying to insert herself into our decisions and offering unsolicited advice, and I'm slowly getting at my wit's end. A few things that have annoyed me. We want a max of around 50 people. My fiance and I are both introverts, and even the thought of being in front of that many people gives me anxiety. With our close family, friends, and their plus ones, we're probably already over 50. His mother insists the wedding must be a grand event with at least 150 guests. Hell no. I found a gown in a magazine I love, and it's going to be my inspiration. It's more on the simple side, but that's my style. I showed my best friend, my mum, and my future mother-in-law because I did want her to feel included, and she insisted it was too plain and everyone will think I'm just another guest at my wedding, being the only one in white. The venue we're thinking about is too small and boring. The on-site catering is not special enough, and because my fiance is an only child, this needs to be a grand affair, and we need to get a guest list to her so she can review and approve who's coming. No, this is our wedding, not yours. Thankfully, my fiance is on my side, and about 6 weeks ago called her and said we know what kind of wedding we want to have, and she needs to stop overstepping and questioning our choices. In an attempt to punish him and assert her authority, she went radio silent until last week. She invited us to dinner on Sunday and presented us with a check for $25,000 to help with the wedding. When we got home, I told my fiance we are not cashing the check. He thinks I'm being ridiculous, and this can help us have the wedding we want with almost no out-of-pocket costs. I told him we won't have the wedding we want because she's going to use the money as leverage to push the event in the direction she wants. When she insists on including her friends we don't know and don't care about, she's going to say, oh, I thought the money would help cover them. When we go dress shopping, it'll be, that's a bit simple. I thought with the extra money you could get something nicer. When we finally choose our venue, it'll be, so what exactly is the money paying for? My fiance said it will cause a huge rift if we don't accept the money because his mother is extending an olive branch and being generous. But I tried telling him it'll cause a bigger rift if she gets in her mind that she has a say in our choices because she's paying for it, and I shut her down every time. I feel like I'm being positioned as a bridezilla. My fiance thinks I'm overreacting, and it's the tension of the last few months exposing itself. Even my mother said I should just accept the gift. So am I the arsehole here? Let's face it, OP is 100% right here. The 25k isn't an olive branch, it's a foothold. Every decision will come with, well, I'm paying for it, comment attached. And initially you said your fiance's on your side, but then he seemed to slip and he's wavering when it actually matters. And I wouldn't blame you at all for not accepting that check, but there's a little part of me as well that's going, that is a lot of money and can give you a real good boost in life if you can find a way around this, just be absolutely explicit with your boundaries or something along those lines. I know it's risky, but I'm thinking this could be a good boost. But Kipster Dude says not the arsehole, but if you want to give her the benefit of the doubt, keep the check and see whether or not she tries to insert herself into your wedding plans. Once she does, be prepared to return the check. Opie says that's actually a fantastic idea. Space Cowboy says, okay, so let me just say 25k can be a huge help for the down payment on the house or straight up buy a brand new car. You can just blow her and her opinions off and think, you're helping me pay for my house and you don't know it. I'm just saying, unless the two of you are wealthy, 25k can go a long ways. Opie says, I'm a social worker. My partner is a teacher. It will definitely go a long way. I just feel like she's being manipulative and I'm allowing it. Lady Fish Breath says, take the money. Just because she gifted you the cash doesn't mean she suddenly has the right to dictate your wedding. Hell, you can use it for whatever you want. Pay for a house, buy a new car. You don't have to use it for the wedding. It's a gift after all, and she can't control what you do with it. If she does end up causing trouble, let your fiancé deal with it. OP quoted, "Just because she gifted you cash doesn't mean she suddenly has the right to dictate your wedding," and says, "My brain 100% knows this, but it's also telling me that after my fiancé called her out on her behavior, she decided this was the only way left to insert herself. I just know it's a trap, and I hate her thinking she's won. And then I feel like I'm the asshole because I'm so bitter about her, I won't give her the benefit of the doubt." A commenter says, "How much do you like your mother-in-law? Is there a middle ground somewhere? She just handed you so much money, and you are free to do whatever you want with it. I'd probably use it on a down payment for a house, but I'd probably also use it to upscale my wedding a little bit to make mother-in-law feel happy and include it in her only child's wedding. It's your wedding and the two of you get all the final say, so maybe consider making your special day as special as you want it on her dime." Opie says, "I know it's such a cliche to have a shitty mother-in-law, but throughout the relationship, it felt like I was graced with a second mother. I think at her core, she's a kind person, but the engagement flipped the switch and it's like dealing with a completely different person. I'd love for things to go back to normal, and I know she's probably had visions of her son's wedding and is just excited about it, but she needs to stay in her lane and just doesn't even understand the concept of a lane. But even if things do get better, what switch gets flipped when I get pregnant?" Professional says, "You could just ask whether there are any conditions attached. Make sure that you are both present when you ask her." OP replies saying this is actually a good idea. And when she says no, confirm that means no suggestions, no feedback, just acceptance. If my fiancé is there, she can't exactly react with, "Well, maybe I can suggest this or that," or "But it would be good if I could help out more," because she'd basically expose the whole thing as manipulation in front of her son. A commenter says, "Not the arsehole. A gift does not give somebody the right to decide. That only works with politicians. Take the money and continue like you used to. Be sure to tell the venue and everyone else that only you guys can decide or change things, and no third person. Otherwise, she might change things behind your back." Opie says the money feels too dirty, and we don't want her to even be able to say she helped out with the wedding. The more and more I hear about the situation, I'm kind of changing my mind on the money thing, just like not accepting it at all. I know they could get hate, but I just got a feeling. I got a feeling. My bloody spider senses are tingling. So OP came back in after 19 days and said, "Hi everyone, I posted here a couple of weeks ago and got some wonderful advice. A few people asked for an update and I thought I'd let you know what happened." It's not good. If you didn't see my original post, my future mother-in-law offered us $25,000 towards our wedding, but I knew there would be strings attached to make the event her way. I thought maybe I was the arsehole for overreacting or seeing something that wasn't there. You all told me I was 100% correct. So I decided to have a heart-to-heart with my future mother-in-law, with my fiancé attending too. I told her that I miss the relationship we used to have, but it's become strained because I feel she has not respected the choices we have made for our wedding. We explained that we weren't depositing the check until we have this conversation and we're all on board about how we move forward. I know we didn't need to provide a rationale, we just required acceptance, but I thought it would help her understand. The wedding size. I reminded her that my fiancé and I are introverts. We would be maxed out emotionally and mentally with 50 people, and quite frankly, we only want the people who have been part of our lives to be there to celebrate with us. There's no need for childhood neighbors to attend. There's no need for distant cousins we haven't seen in 15 years to attend, just the people who have been with us on our journey. The wedding gown. This is non-negotiable. A bride chooses her gown and I'll be choosing one that I can be comfortable being in. This is the first time I'll be wearing a dress since prom. Reflects my personal style and makes me feel beautiful, not anyone else's personal style. The venue. Okay, this is a bit cringe, but my fiancé and I met at a speed dating event a restaurant was running 4 years ago. We hit it off and here we are. Our absolute first choice for the reception venue was this place. Their event space will fit 50 max. We thanked her for a generous $25,000, but we would give it back if our decisions aren't respected. We asked if she has any expectations around any decision making that comes with a gift. My future mother-in-law cried and apologized and told us she just wanted everything to be perfect, and she's sad that she never had a daughter who she can play a normal motherly role in wedding planning. And she was so scared I'd leave her out of everything, which I never did. I wanted her to feel included. So there you go. We had a resolution. We deposited the check and started to move from the spitballing ideas to confirming vendors' phase. When I called the restaurant we wanted for the reception, their private function room was unfortunately booked out for our very specific date that we can't change, which was really sad. Also a bit sus. So we decided to start looking at other options. A few days later, I get a call from a wedding planner who proceeds to tell me that my future mother-in-law hired her to help with the wedding. What the fuck? I called my future mother-in-law and she explained that my fiancé mentioned we lost our preferred venue and wanted to take some of the pressure off my shoulders and hired a wedding planner. She insisted the planner was just to do all the background admin tasks. Okay. I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm not sure why a wedding planner is needed for a small wedding or why they'd even bother taking the job, but if my future mother-in-law wants to spend her money on making things a little easier for me, that's fine. I met with the planner twice, described our vision for the wedding, and she said she'd put together some bookings to view venues, taste cakes, etc. Here's where the shit hits the fan. The planner sent us a list of venues she booked for us to see. We had a look online and all the venues are large, like designed for 200 guests. We're confused and we went to the first appointment yesterday. My fiancé joked that 50 people won't need this much dance room. The planner looked confused and explained that future mother-in-law contacted her last week to explain that we were considering expanding the wedding and would need a bigger space than originally planned. We got home and I called my mum and cried to her that this is all too damn much and we're now considering eloping. My mum's spidey senses tingled. Oh, mine too. And she called the original restaurant we wanted and was like, I'm calling about an event my sister is planning and she's so forgetful. I just want to confirm she's booked the private function room. It's for dates and my sister's name is mother-in-law's name. You guys, this bitch booked the fucking venue out from under us. She booked it and paid a deposit to secure it so we couldn't have it. I can only imagine she did this to slowly convince us to book a larger venue and host a larger reception. My fiance called her and tore her a new one. He told her she's no longer involved in any aspect of planning. We will not be working with a planner. All vendors will be password protected, and she's lucky she's even still invited, but will only be attending as a guest. No speech, no mother-son dance. He also told her that if she interferes at all again, she won't even be allowed as a guest. We transferred the money back to her account. I told him I'm going no contact. I don't really want her there, but I will be polite on our wedding day because I don't want drama. But then I'm back to no contact for good. He's 100% backing me up. A commenter said, wow, that's some escalation. I'm glad your fiancé handled his mother. The real question is, did you get the restaurant you wanted originally? I'm sure you've already figured this out, but you need to invite one person whose sole job that day is babysitting her. It can be someone you're close to that you trust. My cousin asked my mum to do this with his mother, his former sister-in-law, because he was so worried that she'd get drunk and make a scene. Opie says, unless she releases the booking, it won't be an option. I doubt she'd extend the olive branch to do so. I don't know if the restaurant would listen, but I would literally phone them up and tell them the actual situation that's going on, because she's very unlikely to be hosting there anyway, and she's very likely to cancel closer to the date, right? Or I'll tell her you're going to cancel your booking or you're not coming to the bloody wedding at all. I mean, I don't think she should be there anyway. Acceptable site reply saying, I know you said she is invited as a guest, but it should be to the ceremony only. If she doesn't release the booking for the reception and you have to find a new place, well, she's apparently already got plans for the date and time, so she can't make it to the reception. You're just making it easier for her to schedule by not making her come to the reception. What was her reaction to her son telling her off and demoting her to guest only? Opie says, I'm actually liking this idea and I'll mention it to my fiance. She wouldn't do anything to interrupt the ceremony. She's very religious and church is sacred, but she could definitely do something to derail the reception. She apparently cried when she was demoted. I asked my fiance if it was the same tears she cried when she promised she wouldn't interfere. Necessary says, wow, she's insane. Booking it behind your back is psycho. Opie says, I kind of wish I didn't find that out. That felt like the twisting of the knife, but it was also the thing that really opened my eyes. Hipster says, this was so much worse than I was expecting. I really wanted to give your mother-in-law the benefit of the doubt. Opie says, honestly, I understand why people warn me that wedding planning brings out the worst in people. I really loved and respected this woman and always thought she'd make a wonderful grandmother to any future children. Now she will never know them. Maybe I'll be more forgiving in the future, but I am livid right now. Commenter says, wow, your mother-in-law is a duplicitous piece of work. What a calculating, sneaky cow. She is playing a long game. All power to your Mars spidey senses. That is a very useful power to have. Opie says she tried playing a long game and lost very quickly. And one more comment who says, I would love to hear how mother-in-law justified this to her son when he ripped her a new one. Opie says he just told me she just kept saying she wanted the best for us and have the perfect wedding. That shortly became her admitting that she thought our choices and my taste was shitty and she needed to save us the embarrassment. Talk about digging your hole deeper. I can't really see a good thing with her still being in your lives right now or still attending the wedding. I know cutting off is a very simple thing to say and it's very hard in reality. But the control aspects of this that she's trying to implement on you guys, and with the money and everything else, going behind your back, booking venues, on your wedding day, not listening to your wants and needs, and your partner wanting her at the wedding, I don't know, I just find that incredibly worrying. And then what happens, if you do have children, she's definitely going to want to be a part of that at some point. Oh, dearie me. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from the Entitled People subreddit from Ballet Korg, who says, friend asked to use my home for a child's birthday party and then uninvited me. Ooh, cheeky bloody so-and-sos. Friend wanted to celebrate their child's birthday in my party room because it's a special number they are turning. I asked why she can't use her own home and said it's because mine is kid-friendly. I told her I'd prefer if she had the party elsewhere, like a community center or public event spaces. She came back to me a few weeks later saying they were too expensive or far away, and then asked again if she can use my place for the party. By booking our space, she'd be saving hundreds of dollars on the venue. I agreed with a caveat that we'd keep it to a maximum number of people. We keep to the booking time and she has to get her own guests from the lobby. It was important to clarify this to her because my partner and I had hosted a huge party for her a year prior, which had way more people invited, and we found ourselves not enjoying ourselves the whole time, as we had to monitor the guests and retrieve people from the lobby throughout the event because many guests came later than the start time on the invitations. We also didn't enjoy attending the party because we were busy setting up, coordinating the games, monitoring the guests, and cleaning the room after. 2 weeks before her child's birthday party, she tells me she wants to change the party time to an hour later due to her child's change in nap times. She also went over my max number of guests because she'd already invited people before I'd agreed, and it would be too awkward to disinvite them as well, and all the grandparents had to come too. I told her I will not be cancelling the booking and if we can keep to the original time. She eventually told me to cancel the party because I seemed too stressed out. Mind you, I was willing to work with her, but she was unwilling to compromise. She also did not offer to compensate for my time and efforts, only offering to pay for the cost of the room booking and my strata charges for the room, which was also the case for the previous big party that we hosted for her. I found out through social media that she still had a birthday party for her child, but neither my partner or I were invited. We feel hurt because it seems she only wanted us there if we could provide the venue and coordinate the event. I also have to mention that we live in a luxury condo with a lot of amenities near the center. We also feel she took advantage of our living situation and has been treating our home like a community center for her to impress all her friends with. We do not feel like guests that can enjoy these parties because there's so much liability and work to do when these parties are held in our home. She's also asked me earlier this year if she could use one of my party rooms for a birthday party, which she eventually decided not to do because she didn't want to clean up at the end of the night. Edit. Thanks for all the advice. I appreciate the insight from other people. I really should have said no after the first party, but it's hard for me to say no sometimes to long-term friends, which is something I'm trying to work on. I've debated on whether I should post my experience here and how I should proceed with this friendship moving forward, but the resounding opinion is pretty clear. It's one of those situations where this isn't a friend, because let's think about the way that she sees you. She didn't uninvite you because of your scheduling or stress. She uninvited you, and I know this is going to sound bloody brutal. I don't mean to be horrible, but it's because you stopped being useful. You stopped being necessary. And, it stings to hear that. And of course, you're right to feel hurt about it at the same time. But think about the pattern that's going on here. She's pushing past your boundaries, the guest count and the timings, expects you to host, manage, and clean, doesn't compensate you properly, and then drops you the second you don't cooperate. She's taking the piss. That's not a friend. That's someone who's treating you like a free venue and an event planner at the same time. And I think the social media party thing just actually proves it. She was always going to have the party. You were just plan A because you made it easy and impressive for her. And I would simply leave this one as the trash took itself out and just go with that. Because if you stay friends with someone like this, expect more of the same. The commenter says to OP, I seriously hope you never let these people throw a party in your home again. You should take some time to reevaluate your friendship with this person. The fact that you weren't even invited to the party after everything that you did for her just shows that she doesn't value you. Opie says it has made me reevaluate our friendship. I've been very upset about this since finding out on Instagram. We've been friends for almost a decade, went through college together, had vacations, housewarmings, wedding dress shopping, shared same jobs, been there to visit her the day she gave birth at the hospital. There were a lot of difficult times for my friend that I supported her through, leading up to her asking for these big favors of hosting her parties. So I felt like a bad friend if I said no, after knowing about these troubles, but in hindsight I feel very used. I do not feel appreciated as a friend. I will downgrade her to an acquaintance or just a co-worker. We've also given over $600 for a child in the last year as cash gifts due to these milestone celebrations, on top of hosting. So it seems more of a slap in the face that we weren't invited. After the first big party we hosted for her, she and her husband said they were so grateful that they would treat us to dinner as a thank you. It's been over a year and they have never offered to treat us. Even when we go out to eat, they make sure the bill is always split. So there were opportunities to treat us, but they didn't take it. I also had already bought a birthday gift for the child, and now I don't know what to do with it because the return period is over. Opie replies to another commenter saying, "Thank you for your comment. I was flabbergasted when she asked again to use our home for more parties after all of our efforts for the first one, which was 6 hours of work from setup of decorations, food and games to clean up, whereas the actual party only lasted a bit over 2 hours for the guests that could come and go as they please. You would think having a friend host one party would be enough, that you wouldn't ask for the favor again, or at least think the polite thing to do next time would be to offer compensation for the hours of work and stress it takes to host these events. There was also smeared cupcake icing on couches at the end of that party because she wasn't exactly watching the kid she had invited. Also, I never offered my place to host. She asked me to do it each time." To another commenter, Opie says, "When she asked me to use my party room for a kid's party, I did explain to her it was a lot of work last time with the other party and hence why I wanted her to take more active roles this time instead of expecting a lot of labor from us. I did set some boundaries on what I expect from her if she wants to use our space again. The last party, she and her husband did not retrieve their own guests, which took hours of our time since we had to go up and down an elevator and make a bunch of small talk with people we don't know. I told her this. She said she knows and is grateful. She feigned understanding by saying she also hosted a party for her friends years ago, but it was not the same level at all because the party she was talking about had half the number of people, barely any decorations, and minimal food set up." Another commenter says, "Just block her number at this point. She just wants to use the facility. She doesn't give a party favor about you." Opie says she also asked to take her family over to use my pool. I tell her no every time because that does not seem enjoyable for me at all. I'm talking, can I bring my mum over and a child that is not potty trained yet? She's mentioned a couple of times how she doesn't like community center pools. A commenter simply says this person is not your friend, and someone says she most definitely is not your friend. She is a user. Do not let her use you in your party rooms again. Do not worry about hurting her feelings because she doesn't give two shits about yours. If she asks you why you are all of a sudden saying no to using her party rooms, tell her the truth. Because you and your spouse are tired of being used for them. And she didn't want to clean up after her party. Did she expect you to clean up after her parties? Wow. Opie says, "My partner and I are child free and she has a child that has an early bedtime. Not sure if she was hinting that we do the cleanup on our own after she leaves." Jazzlike says, "Did I read that right? You have a lobby in your home." Opie says it's a condo that we have to retrieve guests from the lobby and take them to the party room via an elevator. Then Opie does come in with a final update and says 3 days after making this post, I messaged this friend to tell her how I felt hurt and used when I saw that she still had a party and did not invite me. I was expecting her to acknowledge my feelings and apologize, but she replied to say she was a little offended to receive my message because she was the one who had to cancel her party at my place so last minute. It was awkward to tell everyone the party could not be on the same date anymore because she could not book her own party room on the same date. Yes, she had her own party room that she can reserve in her own condo this whole time, yet she still wanted mine because it's more kid-friendly. She complained that she had to book on a different day instead. She shared she didn't invite my partner and I because she assumed I was working on the new day to the party. I told her I had the day off. I was livid at this point, so I pointed out how she's been acting entitled since I moved into my current place over a year ago, how she tries to self-invite her and her family over to my place multiple times to use my condo amenities. How I had already hosted her such a big party last year, and several other things I took initiative on when her friends did not step up. I did all this without asking for anything in return. just to be a good friend when she was going through personal hardship at the time. I told her how inconsiderate she has been to be asking all these things from me, on top of trying to get me to host her birthday and her child's birthday party. In contrast, I'd never asked of anything similar for her to do for me myself, and neither has she ever offered. I told her she should feel ashamed to be using her friend like this and to put herself in my shoes for once. I clarified that it was her fault that I had to cancel my party room booking because she did not want to wake her child up from their nap for one day in the year, and that she did not consider the time of the several people she had invited in making this decision. I told her I was surprised that there was no accountability or apology from her end. She sent a short message telling me that she was sorry and didn't realize how much trouble she had caused. She then asked if I could move past this. That was all she said. Out of self-respect, I told her I do not want to be friends anymore. She left me on red. Opie responded to a long and a downvoted comment saying it was not a business. I never offered. She kept asking me to book the room at cost. I was not profiting. The money went to the strata I live in. I literally pocket nothing. If anything, we lose money because she does not time manage well. My partner ended up paying over $50 on helium balloons at a local party store at the last party we hosted for her because she wanted a big decorated display for photos. She'd pay for the cost of the party, food, cutlery, etc., but I was expected to allow her space in my home for her friends and family to come. Most of them I've never met or hardly know. My partner and I had to be present from setup to cleanup and everything in between to coordinate the party because we actually live in a condo and take liability if anything goes wrong because we don't want to risk a fine before strata bylaw infractions or pay for damages that guests have caused. I literally did everything I mentioned because she kept putting me in an awkward position to host her. I initially did them in the past because I wanted to help her and felt bad to saying no because she was confiding in me about her personal hardships. But lately it's been very draining for her to keep expecting me to host her parties. It's hard not to feel used and grow resentment when I see a pattern. Someone says, the fact that she had her own condo and party room this whole time is crazy. Opie says that was part of why I was growing to resent these requests because it felt like she was putting all the burden on hosting a party on me so she can actually enjoy them stress-free. Sunday Funday says, good job speaking up. I'm glad you decided your time and energy is best spent elsewhere, onto bigger and better things in life. Opie says, thank you. I try not to be a confrontational person. It makes me anxious to tell someone how they've been making me feel, but I really had to speak up for myself and cut ties. And one more commenter says, consider this though. If you speak up the first time, someone does something you don't like. You won't waste weeks, months, years on a person who doesn't respect you. Or if they are really friends and oblivious to what they did to upset you, things get straightened out instead of letting things fester until you end the friendship. OP says, one more time, very true. I have to hold firmer boundaries and voice how I feel next time. However, it was a touchy topic if I had brought it up how inconvenient the first party was because I didn't want to make a big day about me, if that makes sense. I don't want to give too much detail on what it was because it is a sensitive topic, and in case she or her friends ever find this post, I would like to respect their privacy on the matter. For example, let's say she asked me to host a celebration of life for a dog at my place, and she had told me several months how hard it was for her to lose him. I've seen her cry over this. She talks about this often when we hang out. Then I would feel like a terrible person to agree to host it, not realizing how much work I was getting myself into, then complain to her afterwards how inconvenient it was for me. I didn't want her to attach that special event to me being upset or feeling taken advantage of. And just in case anyone is as clueless as me, I had a quick look it up, and strata is basically building management or homeowners association for the condo. So like in a lot of apartments or luxury condos, the strata controls shared spaces like party rooms, gyms or pools and charges a fee to book them. And according to this, it also sets rules like guest limits, noise and damages. So if anything goes wrong, the person who booked the room is responsible. But in the end, good on OP, I think. Absolutely the right way to go and just cut that shit off, because I think even though, she did apologize in the end, it would have just went back to the other kind of behavior, I think anyway. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. So amazing. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.